Hello class, this is the introduction to the CSS part of going from a Photoshop to HTML. Really HTML and CSS, but that title was too long for this page. So in the last week, we created these you saw these two screencasts, writing the HTML and adding those 960 grid classes. So in this week's screencast, we have a few more, and what you're seeing right now is this introduction. Then we're going to look at getting our images out of the Photoshop file, which is slicing the images. Then there's going to be one on actually writing the CSS, and then we're going to come back and look at something called image replacement, which is a technique for getting the font you want for the titles if you're using special fonts. This is actually somewhat of an older technique now. There's a new one that's replacing it, but I wanted to show you both. So for the midterm, we're going to look at image replacement, and then on the final project, we're going to look at a new technique using web fonts where you can actually download the fonts. And essentially, what we're going to be doing throughout these is in the last one, made this. So this is the HTML file. It's got spaces for all these images right there, and this is what we want to turn it into, right? So we want to cut out all these images here and place them on the page and so forth. So that's really what the first part when I say slicing is getting these images out here, and then we can include them in the image elements on the page. And then we're going to go about the process of adding the colors, and there's a background image actually that we have to do as well. This has a texture that's a background image behind it here, and getting all that in CSS. So that's the next part, and then we'll look at the image replacement. The other thing that we'll do is after we get the basic CSS like this down, what you may notice is this isn't quite look right, and one of the issues here is if I turn on the grid, one of the issues here is that it doesn't visually look right, partly because these lines aren't as obvious. So this line comes here, but then it looks like it kind of jogs out over there. But really, I'm doing it on that line there. And if I actually turn on our grid here, so I'm using the 960 gritter overlay, we can see that, yes indeed, there is a nice line here that all this stuff is aligned to. It's just that the background is showing out from it. So what we're going to do then is show how to do this, where we allow the backgrounds to extend out in each case all the way to the side of the page. All right, and then that will give us a much more even looking line like that. So that is it. That's what we're going to do with these screencasts.